Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It's May 28th, 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, Deco has been spotted meeting with Marcus Rashford's agent. Also, Joan Garcia refuses to close the door on Barcelona. And finally, Ronald Araujo stating that he plans to continue at Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, where not only do we discuss Barcelona news, but where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you who'll be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. And of course, Today, ladies and gentlemen, is the big day because today we will announce the result of the raffle where 3 lucky winners will get to take home a Barcelona kit. And the winners will get to pick which kit they want, home, away, or third, the size, the number, and the name printed on the back. If any, if you don't want a name or number, that's fine. You can get your jersey without it. So don't worry, you will get to choose everything. So stay tuned, watch the entire podcast, because we're going to be picking the winners live. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, live. Full transparency here. I don't want people thinking this is a fake giveaway. I don't want people thinking I'm giving these away to my cousins and siblings. No. We're doing this live. You'll get to see every step of the process, and you'll get to see who the winners are. So stay tuned. I'm very, very excited to give away 3 Barcelona kits. And with that, let's start with the news. But of course, first, don't forget, hit the like button. It helps the channel continue to grow. The more the channel grows, the more I can do giveaways and give back to this beautiful, amazing YouTube community. Also, don't forget to subscribe because that also helps the channel continue to grow. And again, the more I grow, the more I can give you guys free stuff. So let's make it happen. And of course, if you haven't dropped a comment yet in the chat section, make sure you do because I want to read you guys' comments. I want to know what your thoughts, your opinions are. So leave it in the comment section or the chat section. If you're watching this when it ends, also drop a comment because I still read the comments once the podcast ends. Can you guys tell how hyped I am to pick the winners? But anyways, before we can pick the winners, we of course have to talk about the news because the summer transfer market is right around the corner. And of course, there's a lot of news, and I got some juicy news for you guys. It started with the first segment of the podcast, which, as you know, it's little bits of news combined together for the sake of brevity. Starting with, of course, Lamine Yamal, because as you know by now, Lamine Yamal has extended his contract until 2031 with the club, 6 more years, by then he'll be 23 years old. That's crazy, guys. When his contract ends in 6 years, Lamine will be 23 years old. He won't even be in his prime. That's crazy. But anyways, that's not the news because I already told you that yesterday in yesterday's video. I already gave you the details of the contract. What's the news? Well, we now know why there was no ceremonial contract extension. As you know, when players extend, especially someone of the stature of Lamine Yamal, the best player in the world, there's usually a ceremony, pictures with the president, picture with the jersey, picture in front of the replica of the Spotify Camp Nou. We didn't see any of those pictures. And well, the reason for that is that Lamine Yamal requested for there not to be an official ceremony. Why? Because he wanted the most important person in his life present, which is his grandmother, Fatima. And since Fatima could not be in attendance at this contract renewal, Lamine Yamal said, I don't want to do the ceremony yet. I'll go to the offices. I'll sign the contract. All good. But I would like to have the ceremony later once my grandmother is available because I want her present. And of course, the club understood. They say, no worries. We'll do that. So Lamine yesterday signed a contract behind closed doors, and it's expected that the club will do an official signing ceremony later in the summer. Of course, Lamine Yamal will turn 18 on July 13th. That's when that contract will officially become legal or will officially go into effect because right now Lamine cannot sign a long contract because he's under 18. And when you're under 18, per FIFA rules, you cannot sign contracts more than 3 years. So July 13th, he'll become 18. That contract will go into effect. And that's when Barcelona will hold an official contract signing ceremony, whether it be on July 13th exactly or maybe later. But there will be a signing ceremony later in the summer once Lamine Yamal's grandmother, Fatima, will be able to attend. And what a beautiful gesture by Lamine Yamal. Just goes to show what kind of person he is. He wanted his grandmother there. After all, she's the one you can kind of thank her for his success. You know, it's his grandmother who migrated from Morocco to Spain and then brought her two sons, including Munir, who's Lamine Yamal's father. And, you know, that, of course, gave way to Lamine Yamal's birth in Spain and then eventually his rise to prominence. Now, while we're still on the topic of Lamine Yamal, another thing has been revealed which shows just what an amazing person Lamine Yamal is, how mature he is despite being only 17 years old, despite being a child. But it's been reported that last summer, Barcelona offered Lamine Yamal the number 10 kit, and he said no. He said no because Ansu Fati was still at the club. Ansu Fati had the number 10, and Lamine Yamal, out of respect for Ansu Fati, said to the club, I would love to have the 10, but no thank you, not right now. I'll take it once Ansu is gone because I don't want to take the number 10 away from him. And not only did Lamine Yamal do that, he actually asked of all his teammates in the locker room not to even bring up the topic because he didn't want to make Ansu Fati feel bad. And again, another beautiful gesture by Lamine Yamal because can you imagine? You're 17 years, well, at the time he was 16 years old. You're a child. Your dream is to be a star. And the biggest club in the world has offered you the number 10 kit that's been worn by the likes of Messi, Ronaldinho, Riquelme, Rivaldo, a legendary kit. And this kid, I mean, this is every kid's dream, right? We all dreamt as little kids to be football stars and wear the number 10. And here's Lamine Yamal being offered that dream, and he's like, no, I don't want it right now. I don't want to take it away from Ansu. What a beautiful gesture by Lamine Yamal. Now, while we're still on the topic of Lamine Yamal's contract renewal, since I did mention his father, Munir, we do have to talk about a post that Munir posted yesterday on his Instagram page, which is this right here. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it better. But Munir posted this picture on his Instagram page after Lamine Yamal signed his contract renewal, which is the two of them right there with the number 19,3. Now, this post has gone viral. It spread like wildfire all over social media, and people have started to speculate all crazy, talking about, 19.3, because in Spanish, when the decimal is actually a comma, not a period. So that's 19.3. Everybody started speculating, that's the salary of Lamine Yamal. He's going to make 19.3 million euros. What is Barcelona thinking? That's a lot of money. And then people started, going after the father, like, what a terrible gesture. Why would he brag about the money? He's obviously, a gold digger, I guess, in quotation, because, he's bragging about how much money his son is going to make. And, this is the perfect example of why social media has become so dangerous, because in today's day and age, social media amplifies the stupidity and the ignorance of people. Because you see this post and you, as maybe not the common average person, but maybe a reporter, it's really easy to try to figure out what this post means. Just call the father, be like, hey, what do you mean by this post? Send them a text message. Send them an email. Hey, what did you mean? But no, that apparently is too hard of a job to do to confirm what that post meant. It's better to just speculate, create drama, go out and wild different theories. And again, this is why social media has become so dangerous, because it amplifies the stupidity of the common masses. So I'm here to clarify to you. The 19.3, it's not how much Lamine is making. It's not a terrible gesture by the father bragging about it. It's pretty simple to explain. 19 is Lamine Yamal's jersey number. 3 is the 3 trophies that Lamine Yamal won. La Liga, Copa del Rey, Spanish Super Cup during the 2024-2025 season. That's it. That's nothing more to it. It's not how much Lamine's going to earn. It's not his salary. That's it. See how easy that was? Pretty simple to explain. But no. Let's hypothesize. Let's come up with our own theories. Stupidity at its finest. Anyways, the last bit of news, speaking of stupidity, is that Osasuna have officially filed a complaint with the TAD, or the arbitration courts, in regards to Iñigo Martinez. Now, as you know by now, there has been, this whole ordeal with Osasuna, where Iñigo Martinez played after the FIFA international break against Osasuna, where Barcelona won. Osasuna filed a complaint with the Royal Spanish Football Federation, saying that Iñigo Martinez should not have been allowed to play because under the FIFA rules, if you don't report to the national team, you're not allowed to play with your club during 5 days after the FIFA international break is over. Of course, the Royal Spanish Football Federation dismissed that complaint because it's not that Iñigo Martinez did not report to the Spanish national team. He got injured. So Barcelona notified Spain's national team of the injury. Spain officially released him, called up, I think it was Lenormand in his place. So the Royal Spanish Football Federation dismissed the complaint. Osasuna filed an appeal with the Royal Spanish Football Federation. The Spanish Football Federation dismissed the appeal, and Osasuna still had one more avenue of recourse, which was to take up the case to the TAD, or the Arbitration Court of Sports. They had until May 29th. They have officially filed it with 1 day left on their deadline. And of course, if the TAD, or the Arbitration Court, agrees with Barcelona, the punishment under the rules would be to take away 3 points from Barcelona, which of course is not going to matter, because even if they take 3 points away from Barcelona, they would still be 1 point ahead of Real Madrid, so they would still be La Liga champions. This is why it was important to be Athletic Club de Bilbao. And also, Barcelona don't expect that the Arbitration Court, or the TAD, will agree with Osasuna, because again, the rule is pretty clear. If you are officially released by your national team, the rule doesn't apply to you. And yes, Iñigo Martinez should have been included. So this is why, speaking of stupidity, apparently Osasuna like to lose. They lost twice. They want to make it 3, a treble of losses. Why not? If you already lost twice, if you already embarrassed yourself twice, why not make it 3? And the funny thing is, the other day, someone commented, they were like, I haven't heard anything about this. You're making this up, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, my friend, just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean it's not happening. If your girl is cheating on you and you don't know about it, does that mean your girl is not cheating? She's still cheating, bro. She's still fucking someone else. You're just not aware of it. I cannot be responsible for your ignorance, especially if it's selective ignorance, where I'm literally giving you the information and you're choosing not to believe it. That's on you, my friend. That's on you. If you want to be ignorant, that's on you. But please don't come to my comment section making yourself look stupid. But anyways, that is all for the first segment of news. Let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about Marcus Rashford, because Deco was spotted at the hotel with his agent. Not doing nasty stuff. Negotiating. Noob Master says, what's good, Mo? I don't know if I'm really first to comment, but I wanted to know, why do you say Ligue 1 as Ligue A? I don't say Ligue A, it's Ligue 1 with an N, because that's how you say number 1 in, drumroll, French. Why? Because the Ligue 1 is where? In France. And what do they speak in France? Drumroll, French. Let's go. 2 + 2 = 4. Eli George says, my heart sank in just the title of this episode, in Araujo staying. What are we thinking? Well, that's not what we're thinking. It's Araujo who has decided to stay, which we'll talk about it. And plus, he's still one of the best defenders in Europe. He hasn't fit this season. Let's see how it goes next season. After all, he did spend most of the season injured. And when he did play, it was only a few minutes here and there. So let's wait and see. Let's see. Thokozane says, ready to win the away kit, Mo. Let's hear some updates on our beloved club from South Africa. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the raffle will be announced at the end of this podcast. So stay tuned. Keep watching, because we are going to be picking 3 lucky winners who will take home a Barcelona kit of their choosing. Valentino says, finally made it to a live podcast. It's been a while and it's Raffle night. Let's go, Biscabo. Yes, my friend, let's go. It's podcast night. I'm glad to see you back in the comment section. And of course, more importantly, it's Raffle night. And Josiah says, hi, Mo. I'm Josiah watching from Liberia. What do you think about Marcus coming to Barcelona? I'm talking about it in a little bit. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But I guess since you brought it up, that's a perfect segue into our next segment. Because, ladies and gentlemen, today, Deco was spotted at a hotel, at a popular, prominent hotel in the city of Barcelona, meeting with Marcus Rashford's agent. And no, they weren't doing the dirty. They were actually discussing the possibility of Marcus Rashford joining Barcelona during this summer transfer market. Now, as you know by now, Marcus Rashford has been dying to come to Barcelona. In fact, in the winter transfer market, he made it very, very clear that he wanted to come to Barcelona. He offered himself to Barcelona through his agent. He waited for Barcelona until the final moments of the winter transfer market. But unfortunately, because of Barca's financial fair play, they weren't able to clear enough financial fair play for his signing. They weren't able to do anything. So Rashford ended up going to Aston Villa for a half-season loan, which that loan, of course, just ended with the end of the Premier League season. Now, despite not being able to come to Barca in the winter, that has not deterred Marcus Rashford. He has once again declared that he wants to come to Barcelona, that he dreams of playing at Barcelona. And in fact, he even hired Pini Zahavi as an intermediary. Why? Because Pini Zahavi is a very close friend to Jean Laporta. He's also the agent of Hansi Flick, of Robert Lewandowski, of Daniel Rodriguez. So if you want to come to Barcelona, who better to hire than Pini Zahavi because of his connections to Barca? He's the person who can make it happen. But that's not all. That has only Rashford pretty much written on his forehead, I want Barca. But he's even notified the club that he's willing to reduce his salary. Because, of course, when you take a player on loan, you have to assume his salary. You have to pay for his entire salary, which is pretty high, something that Barcelona cannot afford. So he's even willing to reduce his salary to come to Barcelona. And as such, Deco has seen this as a market opportunity. Because if you have a attacker like Marcus Rashford, someone who's very skilled, who's dying to come to your club, who's willing to reduce his salary, then the least you could do is consider it, especially if Marcus Rashford ends up coming on loan, because not only are you signing a talented attacker, you're doing it on a free basis. Now, Barcelona want to sign Rashford, but only on a one-season loan with an option to buy, kind of like a trial. Come to our club, you play a season. If you're great, perfect, we sign you, we activate the option to buy. If not, we send you packing back home to England. But of course, the problem is that Manchester United want a permanent transfer. Manchester United are done. They're sick and tired of Rashford. They want to get rid of him. They want a permanent transfer, but Barcelona are not willing to pay the 50 million euros that Manchester United are asking for Marcus Rashford. So what does this mean? Well, this means that Barcelona are going to have to do some work convincing Man U to let Rashford go on loan. And also Rashford will have to, of course, put pressure on his current club and force his way out on loan, which, given that he is dying to come, I don't see why he won't do that. So the name of the game is going to be patience. Rashford's going to have to be patient because Barcelona are going to have to do a lot of work to convince Man U. And if Rashford wants to force his way out on loan, he's also going to have to play the long game by telling Man U, it's either Barcelona or nothing. I'm rejecting all offers that come your way. So he's going to have to sit idle. And as the days go by in the summer transfer market, eventually Man U will probably get desperate. They're not going to want to keep him for another season. So if they see that the only option is Barca and it's loan, eventually they're going to have to cede. So the name of the game is going to be patience. Again, Barcelona is only going to sign Rashford on a one-season loan. They're not planning to pay the 50 million euros because they cannot afford it. Now, what do I think about this whole thing? I got to say, this scares me a little bit. The signing of Rashford scares me a little bit because it can either go really well or it can either go terribly, terribly wrong. This reminds me of the Joao Felix signing. And what do I mean by that? Rashford, like Joao Felix, is an incredibly talented player. When he is inspired, he is unstoppable. He is a force to reckon with. But what's the problem? Just like Joao Felix, he has been highly inconsistent throughout his career. He's not listened to his coaches. He's been a diva. And he's the kind of player that plays for himself, not for the team. And that's why I say this really, really scares me. Because on one hand, if Rashford comes and he's fully inspired and dedicated and Flick gets the best out of him, I mean, we got one hell of a left winger who can also play as a center forward, right? That's amazing. But if it doesn't work out, normally it wouldn't be a big deal, right? It's a loan, doesn't work out. Who cares? You didn't spend money, send them back home, no big deal. But the problem with Rashford is he has been known to be a diva in the locker room. So if he doesn't work out, he could still be a threat to the team if he ends up causing problems in the locker room. And that's a little bit concerning to me. Hopefully I'm wrong. I wish and pray that I'm wrong. Hopefully Rashford, if he does come, ends up, finding his best form and ends up being absolutely lethal and ends up fitting in the locker room, not causing any problems. But I do worry a little bit given his past. Now, of course, people can change. People can learn from their mistakes. So let's hope if Rashford comes that he has learned from his mistakes and has changed. But for now, we'll have to wait and see because, again, Barcelona will only sign Rashford on loan. They won't pay the $50 million. So we'll see whether Man U will accept this offer because, of course, they want a permanent transfer. Now, it's reported that Flick has greenlit this operation. In other words, if Deco is successful in bringing Rashford, he'll welcome it. But anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions about the possibility of signing Marcus Rashford in the chat section, or if you're watching this when it ends, in the comment section. By the way, speaking of signings, I want to address something because I've been seeing a lot of comments on videos. People like, oh, Barcelona, they scout all these players and they don't sign them. Like, Barcelona's a joke. Barcelona's this, Barcelona's that. So let me clarify something real quick, because that's the story of every club on the face of the earth, okay? Every player that you scout, you're not going to sign. In fact, the great majority, probably 99.9% of all the players that you're going to scout, you're not going to sign. Why? For several reasons. First of all, it's estimated there are 250 million football players on earth between amateur and pro. 250 million. How many can you have on your team? 26. So what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to miss out on 99.9999999% of all players in the world? The second reason is when you want to reinforce a position, let's say the left wing, you're not just going to identify one guy because that guy might say, I don't want to go to your club. And now what? It's over, right? So when you want to sign one player from one position, you got to come up with a list of 10 names. Okay? Because and you go by order. The first guy that you want, things might not work out, right? The club that where he plays, they might say he's not for sale. Or if he is for sale, they might ask for too much, which you can't afford. Or if you can't afford it, the player might say, I don't want to go to your club. Or even if he wants to go to your club, his salary expectations might be too high for you. So if anything goes wrong with the first guy, you move on to the second. Something goes on with the second, you move on to the third, so on and so forth. So if you want to sign one guy, you have to come up with a list of 10. What does that mean? That of the 10, 9 you're going to miss out on, and only 1 you're going to sign. Now, in order to come up with a list of 10, you have to scout hundreds. Because what does scouting mean? It doesn't mean you're going to sign those players or you want to sign those players. Scouting means you got to watch them. You got to see how they play, different matches, different tournaments. You're following them. You're seeing, are they going to be a good fit? Do they have potential? That's what scouting means. So to sign one guy, you have to come up with a list of 10. To come up with a list of 10, you have to scout hundreds. So what does that mean? That you're going to miss out on hundreds just to sign one guy. So please stop saying, oh, Barca scouts all these players and they don't sign anyone, blah, blah, blah. That's like saying, oh, my God, every time the ball goes out of bounds, it's a throw in. Well, yeah, that's the nature of football. That's the rule. Same thing with scouting. So please, guys, just be conscious of the things you say because there are implications to the things you say and to the things you comment. Yo-Yo says, do you think we could get both Nico and Rashford on loan? No, Nico is not going to go on loan. Nico is you either buy him or you don't. And if you buy him, you have to pay the 58 million euro release clause, close to 60 million. So no, you can't get both. It's one or the other. And it seems that Barcelona have moved on from Nico because he rejected us. And the only way Barcelona would consider Nico is if Nico takes the first step. It says, Barca, please, I want to come to you. Please, please. Coroma says, hi, it's me, Samuel from Sierra Leone. Visca Barça, Visca Catalunya. Much love to and from Sierra Leone. Keep it up, bro. Thank you, my friend. And yes. Visca Barça. King City FC says, Mo has taken over. Now the best Barca channel out there. Well, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. And it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with you guys, because it's you guys who watch the channel. It's you guys who subscribe. You guys are making this channel grow, not me. I'm just a crazy guy who comes here, yells on his camera. It's you guys who make this channel grow and make it great. So thank you, all of you watching now and once this podcast ends. And if you're not watching, F you. I'm kidding. Klaus says, why is Deco going for Rashford? That's a good question. I think they're just looking at it as a market opportunity. You know, that Barcelona are only going to sign him on loan. So you're talking about, bringing a pretty prolific, when he wants to, attacker for free, who's willing to lower his salary, who's willing to do anything to come. So I think that's why I'm not a huge fan of this move, but hopefully he proves me wrong. If he comes, of course, we still don't know if he's coming for sure. But if he comes, hopefully he proves me wrong. He proves all of us wrong and ends up killing it, scoring 1 million goals, providing 2 million assists. But it does worry me. Winston says, have you heard any news regarding the club's plans for Andreas Christensen? Do you think he will renew or sell? It looks like Christensen wants to stay. So that's going to be something that Barcelona are going to have to deal with, because, of course, Barcelona have a new rule where nobody can play on their last year of contract. And then Christensen is about to enter his last year of contract starting June 30th. So Barcelona are going to have to, renew him, because if he wants to stay and they can't get rid of him, they're going to have to renew. I am for renewing Christensen because I've seen that he has done wonderful the few times that he has played. He's fit a lot better under Hansi Flick's scheme than Araujo. So we'll see how Barcelona respond. And Shin, oh my God. Shin, always incredibly generous with his donation. Says, hope you're well, bro. Just letting you know that I refuse to get an Instagram account. Therefore, I can't enter into your raffle, be that as it may. Here's your next donation for your next raffle. Hope you have a great evening at Visca Barça. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for your generous donation. And yes, this donation will definitely go towards even this raffle, not just next one, because I haven't bought the kits yet. Why haven't I bought the kits yet? Because, like I said, the winners will get to pick what kit they get. Home, away, third, size, name, number printed. So the kits are not ordered yet. I'm going to order them once the winner, the 3 lucky winners, give me the exact details of what they want. But thank you so much, my friend, for your incredible generosity. I wouldn't be able to do this raffle without all your generosity. You probably donated millions by now. I mean, at this rate, if I saved all the money that you donate, I'll be able to sign Nico Williams and for 58 million, and then go to Barca, be like, here, I got you this player for free. Please register him and use him. But thank you so much, my friend, for your incredible generosity. And with that, let's get back to the news, because we do have to talk about the man of the hour, which is, of course, Joan Garcia, someone who everyone is talking about, because, of course, his time at Espanyol has ended. Being a talented goalkeeper that he is, with the potential that he has, of course, he's not going to stay at a third-rate, small, pathetic club called Espanyol. And as such, all the talk is about where will his next move be. Well, as you know, Barcelona have decided that they are going to go all out for Joan Garcia, even though initially they had decided not to sign any goalkeepers. They wanted to stay with Ter Stegen as a first goalkeeper, Szczesny as second, and then a third one, someone from the academy. But given that Joan Garcia's release clause sits at 25 million euros, Barcelona think that they cannot pass up this opportunity. And I absolutely agree. When else are you going to be able to sign a talented goalkeeper with so much potential that's only 24 years old for 25 million euros? That's not an opportunity you can pass up. So Barcelona have decided to sign Joan Garcia. Now, Joan Garcia has once again been asked, are you going to sign for Barca? And this was his response. And remember, there was a lot of articles going around, a lot of social media posts saying, oh, Joan Garcia has rejected Barcelona because he's an Espanyol fan. And of course, given the rivalry. And I said, hold on, guys. There's no truth to that. He hasn't made up his mind. He's going to be meeting with his agents at the end of this week, maybe Monday the latest. He's going to explore all his offers, and once he's explored them, he's going to make a decision. Does that mean he's going to choose Barca? He could end up saying no. But as of now, he has not said no. Now, when asked whether he would join Barcelona or not, this is what Joan Garcia had to say. I'm very calm, really. A lot of things are coming out of a lot of teams. It doesn't just depend on me. At the moment, I'm an Espanyol player. I don't have a date to decide. So there you have it, folks. He hasn't decided. And yes, he's not saying, oh, I'm going to go to Barca for sure. But at no moment he says no, right? He could easily say, no, I'm not going to go to Barca. I'm an Espanyol fan. I have a lot of offers. I'm going to consider the other offers, but I'm not considering Barca's. No. He simply says, I'm very calm. A lot of things are coming out, and that he's going to decide. Now, he was then asked about previous comments he had made, which could be interpreted as closing the door on Barca. And once again, he's given another chance to close the door on Barca. And what does he say? No. In the end, as I said, there are many things, and it doesn't just depend on me, but on many factors. The decision isn't mine alone. So I'll speak with people whose opinion I trust, and we'll evaluate all the available options. So again, he was given 2 chances to close the door on Barca. Both chances, he doesn't do it. Again, he doesn't say, yes, I'm going to Barca, but he's not saying no. So leaving the door open. Now, finally, he was asked about, our Espanyol fans, does he think about how the Espanyol fans are going to react? And he says, no, I haven't. I am calm, focused on my thoughts and feelings, and also on the feelings of the people who matter to me, and that's it. In other words, fans, you can suck it. Whatever decision I make is going to be because it's a decision I came up with those who love me or his family, entourage, etc. So Joan Garcia not closing the door on Barcelona. Again, not saying he's going to Barcelona, but not closing the door either. Now, there's more news. Not just the statements. But the news is, and this is a big one, so hold on to your seats. But it's reported that Barcelona have already reached a pre-agreement with the players' agents. What does that mean? Does that mean Joan Garcia is coming? No. This is what this means. That Barcelona have already negotiated with the agents, and they have agreed on the length of the contract, the salary, the bonuses, everything. Now, the player still needs to okay it. And this is why the player, will be meeting with his agents in the next few days, because he's going to evaluate all the offers. So now he knows exactly what Barcelona are going to offer him, because Barcelona have already finalized that part. So when he sits down with his agents to evaluate the offers he has, his agents are going to be like, this is what Barcelona are offering. This is the length of the contract, the salary, bonuses, everything. So it's kind of like a step before the step, because usually you ask the player, you want to come here? And if they say yes, then you agree on the numbers. Here, Barcelona have already agreed on the numbers. So if the player says yes, that's it. It's done. There's no negotiations. There's nothing. Everything is agreed to. So to make it a little bit easier for him, because now he knows what he would be agreeing to if he says yes. Again, he hasn't said yes yet. He hasn't said no. He's still got to make up his mind. But just know that Barcelona have already negotiated all the numbers with his agent, and it will be presented to him once he meets with his agents to decide where he wants to go next. That, of course, to me, I would be very excited if Joan Garcia comes. But my question is, what the hell are we going to do? After Stegen, Szczesny just agreed to renew. We have Joan Garcia. Iñaki hasn't left yet. We have Kocher and Yakubishvili, who's supposedly going to be fighting it out for a third spot. I mean, we're going to have 20 goalkeepers. My God. But anyways, I guess better more than not have enough. I guess. I don't know. But anyways, so let's get back to the chat section, and then we are going to talk about Ronald Araujo. Mohammed says, Mo, what about the SF position? That's for next summer. This summer, the focus is someone for the left wing that can also play as a center forward, like Rashford, and the goalkeeping position, even though originally there was no plans to sign a goalkeeper. Klaus says, I am very much against Rashford and Diaz. Let me ask you this. If you had to choose between the two, which one would you choose? Like, you have to choose one. Gun to your head. Would you choose Rashford or would you choose Diaz? And that question goes to everybody. Let me know what you guys think. Rashford or Diaz? Price is not an issue. Who would you pick? And Alucine says, I know Rashford may have disciplinary issues, but with the effort he's putting in to move to Barcelona and with the guidance of Hansi Flick, he will be a great player again. I hope so. I really do. If he comes, I really hope so. Of course, Joao Felix also did everything in his power to come to Barca, and we saw how that ended. So just because he wants to come doesn't necessarily mean like that's it. He's going to be amazing and great. But if he does come, I really hope so. I really hope he ends up being disciplined, puts in the work, the hard work, because we've seen when he's inspired, when he's having a good day, Marcus Rashford is lethal, man. He is lethal. But the problem is, you don't see those days too often. And Neymar Jr. is taking a break from playing at Santos to watch my podcast. Thank you, my friend. Says, hey, Mo, I would like to sign Nico, but a loan for Rashford is good deal. To what do you think? Can we still go with Nico, or is it Rashford or Nico? It's one or the other, because you also have to think about, you have to fit the salary and the wage bill. And again, for now, Barcelona have moved on from Nico because an ego thing. Oh, you said no to me, so F you, kind of like the guy who the girl says no to, and then he's like, oh, F you. It's pretty pathetic if you ask me, but whatever. Curtis says, Rashford was in a toxic environment. Look at all the players that has left and done excellent. I agree with the Rashford side. That's a good point. That might be the case. And if he comes, I really hope that's the case, that maybe it was just a toxic environment, and hopefully in Barcelona, under a better environment, he can thrive. I really hope so. So that's a good point. That could be the case. Let's see. Mantamanti says, save the bees. Yes, my friend, save the bees. By the way, there's been simulations that show if all the bees were to die tomorrow, the human race would cease to exist. How crazy is that? That's how interconnected everything is in nature. And nature is beautiful, because if the bees die, there's no way to pollinate plants, so the plants would follow. And if plants die, then animals who are herbivores who eat plants, they would die. And then if they died, carnivore animals, which eat the herbivores, they would die. And then, of course, we, without plants or animals to eat, we would die too. How crazy is that? Something so small, like a bee, can create such a huge butterfly effect. I guess it should be called the bee effect, because bees die, everything else dies. Nature is amazing. And this is why it's very important that we protect it, because as much as we might think that we are the superior species, that we know it all, that with science we can do anything, Mother Nature always reminds us that that's not the case. That is not the case. Mother Nature could wipe us out just like that. Hamza says Rashford is certainly an elite player when he is focused. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. And then one more. Big Flexpa Flappa Papa says, hey, Mo, I got a question. I would personally prefer Doué for PSG instead of Nico Williams. Do you think it would be a good fit? It would be a great fit, but PSG are not going to sell Doué. I mean, that's like Barcelona selling Lamine. It's just not going to happen. He's an incredibly young, talented player with lots of potential. They're not just going to give him away. They're not going to sell him. And even if they say, okay, fine, we'll sell it to you, they're going to want an insane amount of money, which they know no club could afford. Because here's the thing about clubs like PSG. Because they are so rich, they're not tempted by the money. If they say, hey, this player is not for sale, and some club comes and be like, I'll give you 250. They're like, 250? That's the change in my sofa, right? Between my sofa cushions. Versus smaller clubs, they might say, this guy's not for sale, but a club comes and says, I'll offer you 100. And they're like, oh, shit. Okay, I don't want to sell him, but 100 mil I'll take because I need the money, right? That's not the case of PSG. PSG could offer them all the money in the world. They're going to be like, I don't care. They have all the money in the world. So you can't tempt someone with something they already have, right? Someone who has it all, you can't really tempt them with anything. But anyways, let's get back to the news. Let's do the last bit of news, because Ronald Araujo has currently joined the Uruguayan national team. And upon his arrival to Montevideo, he was asked, what are your plans? You want to stay at Barca? Do you not? And this is what the Barcelona captain had to say. Personally, I don't think it was a great season, especially because of the injury. Pretty much killed me. I was out for a while. I'm happy to be here again and happy with all the titles we won this season. I've got 3 titles under my belt. Being out of action for so long really messed me up. I always want to play. I've always played since I arrived at Barcelona, and when you don't play, you lose a little confidence. Now, when asked about whether he wants to leave or not, this is what Araujo had to say. I'm playing for one of the best clubs in the world, and I'm one of the teams captains. So Araujo pretty much stating that no, he doesn't plan to leave. He's at the best club in the world. He's won 3 titles. He's a captain. No intention to leave. So it looks like we will have Araujo for yet another season. Which, of course, if you ask me, it doesn't bother me. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not bothered about it. Had Barcelona sold Araujo, honestly, I would have been okay with that, because we've seen that Christensen is currently ahead of him. I think Eddie Garcia is even ahead of him. And of course, the 2 starters, Garcia and Iñigo. So I wouldn't mind the extra money from the sale of Araujo. But him staying also doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, if we are being totally objective, Araujo is one of the best center backs in Europe. He hasn't fit under Flick's scheme, but at the same time, he did spend most of the season injured. And when he did play, he didn't really have continuity. And as you know, when players come back from injury, it takes them a while to get back into rhythm. And for them to get back into rhythm, they need continuous minutes, because if you just get a few minutes here and there, you're not going to get back into competitive rhythm, because you're not having that continuity, which you already didn't have throughout the whole season because you were injured. So hopefully if he stays, well, it looks like he's staying, but hopefully next season with more continuity, he can go back to being the Araujo that we all knew and loved, which apparently people already forgot. But Araujo was an incredibly solid defender the past few seasons. So hopefully he can go back to being that. And if not, then next summer, Barcelona should definitely consider selling him. But anyways, that is all the news. Let's do a few more comments and then we'll do the raffle. And we have a donation from Nathan who says, hi Mo, if Nico does not come, can Barca get both Monaco players, Elise Ben-Seghir and Magnus Akliouche? The 2 of them, no. Maybe one or the other, but not the 2. Again, remember, Barcelona are very short on funds, on financial fair play. We're not in the place to be spending and signing 4 or 5 players at once. Okay. This summer, we're looking at 2 signings, maybe 3 if Rashford comes on loan, and maybe you can make a 3rd one. Okay. This is why we're not signing a center forward. Not because we don't want to, not because we think we don't need it. It's because we have to prioritize, because we are not in the financial condition to go out there and sign 4 or 5 players. We're just not. So don't expect this summer to be, a flurry of signings, because it's just, we're not there. We're not there financially. So if Barcelona were to sign one of those 2, it would be one or the other. It would not be both. All right, let's see. Let's do a few more comments and then we'll do the raffle. I forgot the word. Bleacher Boy says, hey Mo, so we signed Rashford on loan. We will still sign another winger? No. If we sign Rashford on loan, that's it. It's Rashford on loan. And then we try him out. And if he does great, then next season, we sign him. And if he doesn't, we send them home packing. Mark says, this goalie is so damn calm. Yeah, he said that like 20 times. I'm calm. I'm like, all right, bro, I'll get it. Can you tell us where you're going? No, I'm calm. Victor says, Rashford will be a great signing. I hope so. Carlos says, what's the point of signing a league goalkeeper and sending him on loan? Oh, no truth to that. If we sign Joan Garcia, he's not going on loan. Okay, I've seen those articles too. Please don't believe everything you read. If Barcelona signs Joan Garcia, it's gonna be so he can compete with Mark ter Stegen for the first goalkeeping position. It's not gonna be to send him on loan. There's no plans to do that. Plus, even if that was the plan to do that, Joan Garcia is not gonna come to Barcelona so he can be loaned out. Joan Garcia is gonna come to Barcelona to fight for that starting spot. So no plan to loan him out. Oh, more donations. Richard says, players that leave Man U excel. That place is a black hole. Look at Rashford at Villa this season. Let's get him. Visca Barca. Thanks for the video, Mo. No, thank you, my friend, for watching and for your donation. And yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. Maybe it is a Man U situation. The only thing that worries me is that Rashford has gone through a lot of coaches and it's been the same all the time. So, at some point you're like, all right, well, whose fault is it if it's the same deal after, with every coach? But maybe you're right. And I hope you're right. If Rashford does end up coming, I hope you're right. I hope it is an environment thing at Man U. And hopefully if he comes to Barca under the right environment, maybe he can thrive, maybe. Maybe. And Shin with yet another generous donation says Chelsea won the Conference League today. Made history by being the first team in history to win all 5 European competitions. Give them some flowers, or would you need to completely wash your mouth out? Just kidding. I actually had no idea that they had won the Conference League. That's not something that I really follow. But I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's the Conference League. I think my Pee Wee League team could win. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to take away from Conference League, but I mean, I don't know if that's really something to brag about. I mean, if Barcelona won the Conference League, I would not be celebrated. I would be like, fuck, I can't believe we're in the Conference League. You know what I mean? So, but hey, I guess congratulations. I mean, all it took them is to sign 200 players and 500 substitutes and spend over €1 billion. So I guess congratulations to them. But yeah, I had no idea that had happened. Who they even play? I don't even know anything about the Conference League. But anyways, now it's the time, ladies and gentlemen. Brrr. Wish I had a drum. But it's raffle time. Now, as I said, this is going to be totally transparent. So I'm going to share with you my screen. You're going to see me pick the winners. You're going to see yourself who the winners are. So let's do it. Good luck to anyone. And of course, if you didn't know, the way you entered it was by going to the Instagram post, subscribing to the page, commenting, and that's how we're going to pick our winner. So let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we're going to pick 3 winners. The winners will get to pick which kit they want, home, away, or third, the size, and name and number printed on the back. It could be whatever you want. If you don't want anything, that's also a possibility. You could just get a blank kit on the back. So let's pick the winner of the, I don't want to say 2025 raffle because I plan to do more. So I guess let's say the winners of the May 2025 raffle. All right, let me share my screen. We're going to be using Wask. I'm not sponsored by Wask. Simply, I just Googled programs that pick winners, and this is what came up. Wask, if you're watching this and you want to sponsor me, great. But I'm not sponsored by Wask. This is simply what came up when I Googled raffle winner, picker, whatever the hell you want to call it. But anyways, let's do it's an Instagram giveaway. So let's click start giveaway. So what I have to do is copy and paste the Instagram post. So here we go. Again, you're going to see it. Oh, man, why is it not? Anyways. It's not showing you the other tab, but I'm currently copying the Instagram post URL. Here we go. And we're going to start the giveaway. Good luck, everyone. Let's go. All right, here we go. See, it shows you the post. It shows you, this is the post that the software is going to pick the winners from. Again, total transparency. This is not a fake raffle. I would never do that. We're going to pick number of winners. 3 winners, because 1 winner is not enough. 2 is definitely not enough. 3. Number of minimum mention. We'll do 1. And here we go. What's following control? What the hell is this? I don't know. I'm going to keep it off because I don't know what it is. This is the first time I'm using Wask. So here we go. Give me some drum roll. Find winners. Here we go. Scanning the comments. Speaking the winners. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The first winner is uphill_Benji. The second winner is Sean Babulal. And the third winner is IZB3 Jellica. I don't know. Anyways, those are the 3 winners, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to the winners. I am actually going to take a screenshot of this. Here we go. Voila. All right, I got a screenshot now. I will be messaging all the winners through Instagram accounts. So be on the lookout for messages from the channel's Instagram page. I will be messaging you because, of course, I'm going to ask for your details, including what kind of kit you want, the size, the name and number printed on the back, if any, and, of course, your address. No, I'm not going to stalk you, but I need an address to ship the kit to you. Otherwise, it's got to be very difficult for me to get you the kit unless you want to come to New York and pick it up yourself, which I doubt you do. But anyways, I will be messaging you from the Instagram page to get your details. Congratulations to the winners. And for those of you who didn't win, don't worry. Don't worry. There's going to be more raffles in the future. I'm hoping to do some raffles, not necessarily just kits, maybe merchandise, hoodies, pants, jackets, whatever. I'm planning a lot more giveaways for the future. So if you didn't win today, don't worry. You'll have the chance to win more. And for those who did win, congratulations. Be on the lookout for your inbox. And with that, we will end this podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your generous donations. Those donations are going to help fund this raffle. I will be uploading another video later tonight, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Bisca.